back. Hammy's confidence struggling, or worrying about keeping his confidence up. How do you go about keeping that? Maybe the same even with Nick, because I mean he's getting.
Yeah, I've thought of a couple different things. I've thought of talking to them and asking about the rotation. Are they okay with Friday, Saturday? We discussed it in the staff meeting. Not because we think the team is playing better on Fridays than Saturdays necessarily, or I don't think that they've, decided they're going to play poorly play poorly for Andrew and well for Nick. Obviously that's not the case. I just don't want to lose either one of them. I think that Hammy's had some good efforts, and they've been spoiled by the team's efforts not being great. And we just want to keep checking in with them to make sure that they stay focused and they control what they can, which is themselves. And let us worry about hopefully talking to the team, and then ultimately those individuals have to control themselves as well. It's something I haven't even brought up to them yet, but we were thinking about doing it this week. Not about going to a one-man thing at all, but just maybe would you playing Friday and you playing Saturday, would that change anything? Would that mean anything? We've been just preaching with them from the beginning of the year. We need their input. We want their input, and we're at a point right now where we're going to ask for it again.
Talk about this past weekend and how you felt Bowling Green played against Miami coming in here, a very tough team in Miami, and Bowling Green pulling out a couple of close games, all things considered. Yeah,
well, Friday night I thought we had a pretty good first period. I think they scored the first goal there, and then we came back and tied it. The second period was really unfortunate because I don't think it was as one-sided as the scoreboard said, 3-0. So we go into the third down 4-1 against a team that doesn't give up a whole lot. Scored a goal to make it 4-2. I thought there was some fight there and some pushback. The focus has been all year long to forget about yesterday and don't worry about tomorrow and focus on today. And we try to take that approach on Saturday again. And the effort in the first period wasn't very good. There's no doubt the execution wasn't very good. The thing that disturbed us the most was they were mental mistakes. They were missed assignments, fanning on pucks, not knowing who's up on the bench, mental things that take no skill whatsoever to do. And this is why we've been preaching from the beginning about expecting more. And then at the end of the first period, there's a scrum in front of our bench because guys are sticking up for each other. And the message after the first period was, where's that fight been for 20 minutes? We go out, second period, not a whole lot better. They ended up scoring a couple of goals in the second period, one 6-on-5, one on the power play. Basically in one play it cost us 2 goals, and then they score 5-on-3 in the third. So overall disappointed in the fact we're still not able to put 2 good games together. Like I told you before, there's no such thing as a moral victory in this program ever. I don't care who we're playing. We're still pushing. We're gonna stay focused on the plan. We're going to continue to try to execute the plan, and we're going to try to continue to put players in the lineup night in, night out who expect that as well.
You talk about Fink and Rodriguez and how they're doing this week.
Rodriguez is fine. Michael is going to be out a while. He's got a bad shoulder, and I don't think it's as bad as what it looked like on the ice. It probably could have been. Thankfully for that. But he's gonna travel with us to RPI, but not with the intentions of playing. Just to be with us for the holiday and be with his teammates and do some rehab with us and so on. But Mark's hand is fine, which I find that's pretty wild because that hit him hard right in the palm of the hand, and that's one that easily could have done some pretty serious damage. But he was back out there playing, and he practiced today. He seems fine.
If I understood you correctly, Saturday night, you'd like the way Rodriguez who's playing so far?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you specifically like?
I just like he's been very consistent, with what he does. I mean, if I had to poke a hole in it, I'd like him to be a little bit better on faceoffs, but he is with our team on that. We're just not a very good faceoffs team right now. He's been consistent in his daily approach. He's consistently physical. I do think there's more offense to his game, and we're seeing more of that in practice. We saw a little bit of that during a 3 or 4 game thing with him and Solway and Jordan. Seemed to have a little chemistry going there. But he's a guy that just keeps his mouth shut and comes to work every day. At least that's what I've seen in the short time I've been here. And I've been pretty happy with his consistency. I think he's been fairly consistent, and a team that's struggling with consistency, that's made him stand out.
And then Friday night, you also said that you'd like Muller's consistency. What in his game do you like? What has he done?
I think Brett Muller's a hockey player. I think he makes a lot of little hockey plays on the ice. I think his goal on the penalty kill was a prime example of that. He kind of made a read and saw a seam there and had a stick in that area. And then I think his skating might be undervalued. I think he's a pretty good skater north-south. And the one thing I don't think Brett Muller has ever done is committed himself in the weight room. And that's not necessarily a shot on Brett. That's something that I don't think he's ever been pushed to do that. He's somebody that I really look forward to seeing him at 185, 190 pounds versus 175. I think he could be a handful. He's pretty shifty down below the tops of circles in the offensive zone, and he's got a pretty good shot. So I think there's lots of good there. And he's someone that has been consistent, but he's been inconsistent too over, I don't think his consistency's been over 14 games. I think his consistency goes in a couple of games at a time, just like a freshman would. And I include practice in that too. He's had some days where he's not ready and not focused in practice. But when he is, he's pretty good.
But you talk about the guys sometimes not being ready and focused mentally for a game. Going back to your playing days, do you remember being, as a player, do you remember being in situations where either you or your teammates?
Yeah. Teammates for sure. Teammates for sure. And I would say me, yeah. But I'm trying to use me or use my experience as an example of what not to do. There's no reason we're looking around on the bench of who's up when the other two guys knew they were up, and you're still standing on the bench here wondering who's supposed to be out there. Or on face-offs, not ready. And the other thing, and I'm trying not to be sarcastic with this, but I've not seen a team lose their stick as much as our team does. I've never, ever seen a team lose their stick as much as our team does. I just don't understand how you can play the game of hockey when the stick is the weapon, is the equipment, and you're holding onto it so loosely that it comes out of your hand all the time. That, to me, you're not ready. You're not ready to compete at a high level. You're not ready to play a man's game, which all of the guys on our team, 14 games into the season, they know it's a man's game. We don't lose our stick that much in practice. And I think it's a prime example of not being ready. How do you know? Like, no one can say, okay, Camper or Mealy or Haglund or Capper, okay, they just have skills that other people don't have. Holding on to your stick, knowing if you're up or not, being ready on a face-off, I don't see excuse for that. And that, I don't know why. And I'm trying to take some onus on myself to say, I used to do it as a player, or my teammates used to do. Let's learn from that, and let's focus on. That's why we say, don't worry about a pretty good game yesterday, or worry about a Sunday afternoon watching the Green Bay Packers play football, or whomever it is. Let's focus on Saturday. Why can't we focus on today when some of our opponents have been able to do that? And that's what we're struggling with. And that's what we're trying to push buttons. Obviously, they're not working yet. But it happens all the time. What we're trying to do and say is it's happening to us too much. And we need to nip it in the rear end. If we've been consistent, let's just say 5 of the 7 weekends that we've had so far, and we've been able to put 2 pretty good efforts together, you wouldn't be hearing, this from me. But that's not the case. We've maybe put one effort back-to-back nights, and that was the weekend against Huntsville, where it was pretty consistently the same. And I don't know, maybe that's not fair because they were both wins, so the result was the same. Maybe that's why I feel that way. But I don't remember thinking one night was that much worse than the other, where we've had some some pretty lopsided weekends where one night was this and one night was that, or vice versa. So I don't know, but it's absolutely happened before, and I feel it's our job as coaches to point it out and try to fix it, and try to let the guys understand how they can fix it individually.
Keeping in mind, it's only Tuesday, you expect JST to be in the lineup right now?
I don't know. I think that's up to JST. As a matter of fact, I know that's up to JST. That'll be his decision, based on how he does in practice.
How has he responded so far?
Okay.
You've had just one practice.
In a conversation.
Any injuries besides Montrose and Rodriguez?
Montrose is fine. Michael Fink.
Oh, okay.
Fink.
Okay, I thought.
And Rodriguez is not injured. Williamson's still struggling with a
that's
shoulder.
right.
We've got a couple. Fink is his shoulder, and Williamson's, he's just got kind of a nagging shoulder right now.
Yeah, I forgot we covered.
I think Montrose is fine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I know, I'm just joking.
Talk about this weekend at RPI, the holiday tournament coming on. What are your expectations? Three opponents that Bowling Green matches up pretty well with, and in most cases has the upper hand over at least I feel Huntsville and definitely UConn. Talk about this weekend and what you're expecting out of the Falcons here.
Well, I don't look at us as having the upper hand against any of the three teams. I do feel like you in that on paper I think there's some similarities. Obviously, we had a little bit of confidence against Huntsville with those two results we got, but they're a team that they're scrappy, and they showed that Friday night for sure, coming back and then having to go to overtime to win it. They're a team that if we're not ready to compete at a high level, that it won't be in our best interest to do that. The other two teams I just don't know a lot about. RPI, I know the coaching staff pretty well. I expect them to be hungry and ready to go. They were off last weekend. So was Huntsville. RPI's at home. We're expecting to go this weekend and like we always do, getting going on the road. We're expecting to go there for a business trip and to win 2 hockey games. That's the expectation. Hopefully that's something that each one of our 27 guys who's getting on the bus tomorrow is thinking, and that's the deal. We can relax tomorrow. We've got Thanksgiving Thursday. We'll have some time to spend time together and during the holiday, and they're off school, so there's no worries that way. And like I said, hopefully the focus is to go there and treat it as a business trip like we try to do always, and to go win 2 hockey games. And we'll worry about the opponents as they come. But I think of these 4 teams, anybody can beat anybody on a given night, and I believe wholeheartedly in that.